This lesson is over rational numbers and converting fractions to decimals. Rational numbers are counting numbers or your natural numbers. So, for example, 1, 2, 3, etc. But it also includes whole numbers. So that's adding in 0. Integers. So that's getting into your positives and your negatives. And then additionally, it includes terminating and repeating decimals. In other words, anything that can be written as a fraction. So if you have 0.3 repeating, that is 1/3. Since it can be written as a fraction, it's a rational number. Say 0.5. That's the same thing as 1/2. It can be written as a fraction, so it's a rational number. Okay. Of course, there are more complicated versions of this, but these are the ones we're going to look at for now. So comparing and ordering rational number rules. Remember, if they're not in the same form, you must convert them all to one form if you can't compare them otherwise. Decimals are usually the easiest for people to compare. Look for your positive and negative signs first because that can help you identify without actually having to convert everything. Make sure you look at the whole number components of each number as well. And then look at and compare place value behind the decimal. Tenths place first, then hundredths, thousandths, etc. So for the following numbers, we're going to place them on the number line. First of all, this one's 0.5. That one's pretty simple. This one's 0.75. Again, pretty simple. This one's 0.6 repeating. And then this one is 0.8 because that's the same thing as 8 out of 10. And then we have the last one, which is 5/6. So I actually have to do a little bit of math for that one. 6 goes into 5 0 times. 6 goes into 50 8 times because 6 times 8 is 48. So there's a 2. Drop it down. 6 goes into 20 3 times. And I've got 2 left over, which means this is going to start repeating. Honestly, you just really need to be able to compare it. I already knew that this number was going to be bigger than this one because it had something else over there. So 1/2 is going to be right about here. And then 1/3 is going to be a little bit, sorry, 2/3 is going to be a little bit bigger than that. So I'm going to say somewhere around there. 0.75 is 3/4. And then we have 4/5, which will probably be somewhere in there. And then 5/6 is just a little bit bigger. So what I've done by putting them on the number line is put them in order from least to greatest. On the next one, I've got 0.02, so 0 in the tenths place, 2 in the tenths place. This is obviously going to be my bigger one, so I'm going to put it over here. 0.5 is half, so I can go ahead and put that right there. 0.02 is really super close to 0. This is almost 3/4, or a little more than 3/4, so I'm going to put it right about there. And this is a little bit more. So using my number line, I've been able to put these in order again from least to greatest. As you see me do a couple minutes ago, to convert a fraction into a decimal, all you're doing is dividing. So the numerator is always what's being divided up. This is 1 divided into 4 groups. So the 1 is what's being divided up. There should be a decimal right there. And again, 4 does not go into 1 at all, so I put a 0 there. 4 goes into 10 twice, so that's -2. Drop down my 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times, so there's a remainder of 0. So the decimal form of 1/4 is 0.25. So again, 3 is being divided up, and I want to know how many times 8 goes into that. So 8 does not go into 3, but it does go into 30. Goes into 30 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. And drop down your next 0. 8 goes into 60 7 times. So 8 times 7 is 56. It's going to give me a 4 left over. I got my next 0. And 8 goes into that 5 times with nothing left over. So this is going to be 0.375. 1/3. 3 does not go into 1, but it does go into 10 3 times with 1 left over. So when I drop down my next 0, oh, it's going to start repeating. Now some of these will be ones that you're required to remember. There's a sheet in your notebook that tells you to memorize your benchmark fractions and make flashcards of them. 1/3 is one of those. So you should not have to do this division every time, but it's always there if you have if you tend to forget. Now on this one, do we really have to do the division? Hopefully not, because this is 3/10, and hopefully we know that 3/10 is 1 decimal place. But if you need to, you can always go back to this method. It does not go into that, but it does go into that. Now the 2/3 is also another benchmark fraction, just like 3/10 is. If you need to do the division, you can, but it's going to take you a little bit longer. 3 times 6 is 18, with 2 left over, which means I'm now going to start repeating. So this is 2.6 repeating. In our following question, we're just going to list these in order from greatest to least. So my negative number is going to be my least. I don't even need to convert that. And then I'm going to look at my positive numbers. So my biggest positive number is going to be 1.25 because it has a whole number. And then I know that 3/4 is 0.75. So which one's bigger? 0.78. Now please remember, whenever you're listing numbers from least to greatest or greatest to least, always put them back in their original form when you're listing them. So that's all we have for today. Please make sure that you complete the assignment in your notebook.